Chapter 25. Milo stepped into the room and felt his understanding of physical space shatter like a fourth wall in a Mel Brooks movie. The chamber shouldn't exist. It was bigger than an IMAX screen and deeper than a David Lynch dream sequence. It dwarfed even Felix's archive, stretching beyond what seemed possible beneath a B-movie mansion. Film canisters lined shelves that reached toward a ceiling lost in shadow, like a library of Alexandria for Hollywood's forbidden fruits. Posters for movies that had never seen the light of day adorned every available surface. This wasn't just a vault. It was cinema's black site. His eyes landed on what looked like an alternate universe Star Wars poster. Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia, hair buns intact, fleeing hand in hand with what appeared to be Kermit the Frog's supermodel cousin. Behind them loomed a Darth Vader, who seemed more universal monster than space samurai, the character's name emblazoned in a font that suggested this version of Star Wars had been conceived somewhere between Flash Gordon and film noir. "Sweet Scorsese," Milo said, looking around. "Is this Hollywood's Area 51? "Welcome to the vault, Mr. Piven," came a voice that sounded like it had been aged in oak barrels of pure Americana. Milo turned to find himself face to face with a man who bore an uncanny resemblance to James Stewart, as if the actor had stepped right out of It's a Wonderful Life and into whatever this was. His eyes twinkled with mischief and melancholy, as if he had seen the best and worst of what cinema, or life, had to offer. Poppy stood beside him, looking far too at ease. "I spotted you tailing me. Figured you might as well know the truth. It was bound to come out sooner or later." James, if that was even his real name, nodded, his expression a mixture of resignation and amusement. "I do wish X had given me a heads up about our unexpected guest, but I suppose I'm as ready to talk as I'll ever be." "X?" Milo's brow furrowed. "Who's X?" "That would be me." Poppy raised her hand like she was volunteering as tribute. "Poppy X, at your service, or disservice, depending on how you want to look at it." Milo blinked. "I thought your last name was Wilson." She smiled. "Oh, Milo, you've always been 2 steps behind." James touched Poppy's shoulder. "You're relieved of duties, X. I'll take it from here." She nodded, then walked to the door. A spark of anger ignited in Milo's chest. "You sabotaged my dreams." Poppy paused, turning to look back to Milo, her expression unreadable. "Guilty as charged, and for what it's worth, I'm sorry, Milo. It wasn't personal." "It was to me. Not when it comes to saving the world." And then Poppy was gone. "Walk with me, Mr. Piven. I believe I owe you an explanation." Milo fell into step beside James, feeling an awful lot like Alice following the White Rabbit. "Why shut down my film?" Milo asked. "What is all this?" "Plot 147, Mr. Piven." "Plot 147? James sighed. "The most dangerous narrative in the history of storytelling. The Golden Path contains elements so potent and potentially reality-altering, it could tear the fabric of our world apart." "You're joking, right? It's about a historian who can witness past events. It's not exactly Inception, and even that movie only confused audiences into thinking it was profound, Inception style." "Are you sure about that?" James asked, and then an image flashed through Milo's mind, his dream of the mushroom cloud blooming on the horizon, the world ending in fire and flame, and a chill ran down his spine. James shook his head. "I assure you, Mr. Piven, this is no joke. Plot 147 has the power to reveal truths that humanity is simply not ready to face. Destruction of delicate illusions that would destabilize reality and ultimately usher in the end of the world as we know it." They passed by a series of posters, each depicting films Milo had never heard of. James pointed them out one by one. The Quantum Lens by Stanley Kubrick, Echoes of Eternity by Orson Welles, The Seventh Seal of Apocalypse by Ingmar Bergman, The Mobius Strip by Charlie Kaufman, Reality's End by Darren Aronofsky. His finger moved from poster to poster. All of these contained elements of Plot 147, and all were stopped before they could ever see the light of day. Milo was stunned. This was like being told that Santa Claus was not only real but running a fight club out of the North Pole. But how? Why would these directors agree to just stop? The same way you're going to agree, Mr. Piven. James ran a hand along a nearby canister, his touch reverent, almost paternal, his lips curving into a sad smile. Because once you understand the truth, the consequences of continuing become unthinkable. They came to a stop in front of a blank wall, featureless save for a single sheet of paper tacked to its surface. On it was typed a single paragraph, no more than 100 words. This is Plot 147 in its purest form. Read it, Mr. Piven, and understand why the Golden Path can never be completed. Milo leaned in and scanned the page, but it was hard to concentrate. Words writhed on the page like credits trying to escape the screen. Reality warped around him like a film strip melting in the projector, each letter burning itself into his retinas with terrible clarity. Colours bled into one another like practical effects giving way to CGI, and sounds distorted until they resembled Stanley Kubrick's entire filmography played backwards at half speed. Then, with the brutal efficiency of a final cut and the sound of 1,000 film projectors whirring in unison to drown out all other thought, everything snapped into focus. He staggered back, gasping for air, or like a drowning man Superman forgot to save. James steadied him with a hand on his shoulder. Now you see why this knowledge can never be shared with the world, and why your film, innocent as it may seem on the surface, can never be allowed to exist. Tears filled his eyes. Some stories are meant to shine, James said, his voice carrying the weight of 1,000,000 murdered darlings. But others are like sitting through Ishtar twice. The Golden Path, Milo realised, wasn't just a movie. It was a key to a door that made the one in The Shining look like a welcome mat. And that door should never be opened.